Hi guys, welcome back. I always started off and hurt myself. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another body positivity video, and I have a lot of these videos, and only because I feel like I want to help people for sure on this platform, and it's no surprise that that is something that I have a lot of experience with. So I figured, why not kind of wrap up all these things that you know, helped me feel confident and led me to where I am today, and kind of just pass them along, because I don't believe anything, like any information that makes you feel good, should be kept to yourself. All I want to do is spread it to you guys and make sure you do the same thing to lift yourselves up. I wrote notes. So I really just think it's so important for you guys to love and accept your bodies. There's so many things that you can do to at least start this process. Like, you're not gonna just wake up and love your body more than anything and accept it. It's kind of like something that you do over time. But if you just practice a little bit of methods here and there, you'll be surprised that how good you'll feel after you practice these things. And a lot of it is just like mental clarity, kind of just like telling yourself one thing regardless of what you see in the mirror. And this could sound crazy, but it could actually just lead you to a lifetime of happiness. So I think that the first part, I think that the first thing that people need to understand is the power of conditioning, and to kind of realize that over all their lives, like, they've been told what the idea of beauty is, you know, through magazines and through the media, maybe through some of their friends and family and people who might come down hard on them, depending on who they are or what they do. This idea of beauty is there for you, and then you have this idea of beauty on one side, and then you have who you are on the other, and you're expected to cross over no matter what. You're expected to always strive to be what people say is beautiful. And I think that getting out of this conditioning is a huge start to kind of like defining your own beauty. Like, not seeing like, okay, like, stick figure blonde, like, I understand what like the world sees as beautiful, but what do you see as beautiful? And it's gonna vary, because people like essentially have different fetishes and different things that they like. So it's a known fact that not everyone is into the same thing. So to push one standard on someone is just crazy, because you can push 100 stick figure blonde women in front of men, and like, that's just an example, but not every single one of the men is going to like that figure. Now the majority might, but it doesn't mean that there aren't 20 or 30 or so that are interested into something, or interested into something like out something different. We're definitely taught that we need to look a certain way, like, I feel like, and like I said, like, this kind of varies, like, if you're like who you are and like who raised you, kind of, but we're taught to look a certain way. And what this kind of does is makes happiness like unattainable, not only unattainable, but kind of pushes it in the future. So you, like I said, like, you have on the other side like what you're supposed to look like, or what the world might want you to look like, and then you have what you look like, and you're constantly just like trying to become that other figure. And you literally, because of what the media tells you, like, you feel like in your mind like, well, I ain't shit until I reach that other side, until I get these 30 pounds off and get this surgery done here, and nip this and tuck that. I'm not beautiful. And it might be 2, 3, 4, 5 years until you get to that other level. So my thing is, like, why spend those 2, 3, 4, 5 years not liking yourself, like, while you're recreating yourself? Like, you should take that time to kind of love yourself where you're at, and then if you still want to make changes, but don't forget to just love like the prototype, you know what I mean? Like, love what you were given, and then kind of mold it into something that you want to be as you go along. But I just feel like you might not want to change as much as you think, because if you really just take time to study and fall in love with what you're given, you might just like certain things more, and you might realize like, oh fuck, like, oh, I don't have a big nose. Like, that's just the media telling me that a small nose is more beautiful in someone like my face. Like, that's just an example. But you take the time to figure out what defines beauty for you, and then essentially you go from there and change yourself. And like I said, making a decision to make changes to your body with the idea of the media's idea of beauty, and then with the and versus the idea of what you think of beauty, are so different. So going at the two is like, and separating them is just so important, because you want to make sure that you make those changes for you and what you want, rather than what you think people will like expect you to look like. I also just have the I also just think it's a great tip to kind of embrace your uniqueness. A lot of times people have like certain flaws or whatnot about them. And I just feel like in this day and age, like, girl, work it. Like, there are so many people on different streaming platforms that kind of like use those uniqueness to their advantages. Like, even down to like different types of things. If people are missing an arm or a leg, if your personality shines through and you have a message or a talent, things like that, like the missing arm or the missing leg is gonna draw people in. But then fire back a message for them, like, or just use whatever uniqueness about you that you have to, to draw people in and get them to your platform, and then go ahead and say the things that you truly mean. And I think this can like really help people just kind of get a little bit more confident, because what you're essentially doing is like taking that one thing that like people might have beat you up for years, or that one thing that might be on your list to change, via surgery or whatnot, and that could be the one thing that attracts people to you, and you don't want to lose that, because even if it's a bad thing, you have a message and a story. And sometimes our words and the things that we think and feel like are not enough to get people to come to you. Like, that's why like the image of a thumbnail, they say on YouTube, is like so important, because all you have is that kind of couple of seconds like to gain an impression from somebody. And unfortunately sometimes it always comes down to like how you look. And so before they see what you have to say or what you have to do, or any of your talents that you have, you're just seen as like a look. So use that to your advantage. If you have something about you that makes you more unique and people make fun of you for it, it's just kind of like, it shows you that they're just a little upset that maybe they don't have it, and they've been looking for something to make them look outside the box and they've never found it, and here you are, you may have been born with it. So make sure you just take a look, really, really close look at your advantages and weaknesses of your personality and your body, and make sure that you're not missing a chance or an opportunity to thrive, based off of that, what's that word, fault or error, based off of that, flaw, that's the word. I think I probably have talked about this before, but the last and final thing would to just be to mold yourself with kind of like positive thinking. I just feel like you can literally make the mental choice to worry about your body and where it's going, and the flaws that exist within it. Or you can make the mental choice to not worry, but then also still cater to some of those things that you might feel like you want to change. But there's such a difference between molding yourself into something more beautiful and taking time to grow and learn, than sitting there and kind of like chipping away at yourself, out of like animosity and hate because you don't look a certain way. You just don't want to do that. You want to make sure you take yourself and, just like I said before, like, you love what you have already there, and then from there pick and choose what you want to change. And you'd be surprised, like, the more time you take to just get to know and love what you already have, like, you might want to change less. You just want to make these good life choices, and I just feel like a lot of it had like there's so many choices to be made like in life, and I just feel like people would make them better if they just like had more self-love and more self-care kind of involved. Like before you can help other people or make a choice or a decision for a business or a company, like in your everyday work life, you should definitely make sure you're making the right choices and decisions for you and yourself and your body, because that's essentially what's going to make you like a better person. You know, just healthy mental decisions that bring you to that next level, and just like show people that you're here for it. And you can just kind of shatter that illusion that it only matters about what you look like, because like I said, you can kind of take that flaw or whatnot, one of those flaws or whatnot that you had, and capitalize on it. Show people that you're not afraid of your flaws and that you feel sexy and complete with it, and they'll kind of like ride that trend with you, and you can kind of change the idea of beauty yourself. And it only takes one person and one thing, and I think that's the really cool thing about when one person steps up, is that they have the they have the ability to start a trend. Like if one person says they love their big nose, or one person loves their crooked teeth, or whatever it is that other people might see as a flaw, and then other people with that same flaw start to feel empowered, and it kind of becomes like a chain reaction. And I feel like a lot of that has happened within the community in the past couple years, of people just kind of embracing like their size and stuff like that. Like that started with one or two people, and then all of a sudden like people just feel their oats, like, oh, if so and so is doing it, then fuck it, I'm wearing my bikini over here too, like doing it. Like you catch a momentum, and I think it's so beautiful. And if you can just get those momentums caught a little bit more with other flaws, I feel like people will be a lot more happier. Just kind of embracing the things that they're given is just so important. All right, guys. That's it. That's all I have for you today. I just really want you guys to love yourselves completely on the inside and the out, and taking care of yourself, and following a lot of these methods and rules and tips that I give and things like that. They're just gonna help you be a better person, and then essentially it's just gonna grow your relationships around you and grow the workplace around. Like all those things are gonna get better because people immediately see a change in you as a person and as a soul, and then everything that soul is involved with ends up going up. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that these words and my inspiration and just like me ranting about beauty and self-love and confidence is somewhat helpful to somebody out there. I do appreciate everyone who's been watching my channel and growing with me. It's been more than an experience. If you're new here, please make sure you go ahead and slap the shit out of that like button and subscribe so you can be here for my future videos. All right, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.